3 reasons that you are quitting on yourself. So the first one is perfectionism. If it's not perfect, it didn't follow through. And we're going to go deeper into that. The second one is unrealistic expectations. And the third one is fear. Hello and welcome to Say Yes to You and Why You Don't. For women who are great at saying yes to others, but not always as great at saying yes to themselves, but are ready to start saying yes to themselves. So today's podcast is about that. The 3 different reasons that you're quitting on yourself. And also want to remind you that the link to the download for today's episode is on understanding how your mind is tripping you up. And with that, I will offer you an opportunity to spend 20 minutes with me and let me walk you through it and help you understand how that's greatly impacting your life. So let's get into it and let's talk about the 3 different ways you are getting into it and not able to follow through on what you say you want to do. So as a coach for women who are looking to change their lifestyle, that are looking to change their mindset, that are feeling kind of stuck, feeling like they say they want to do things differently, but they find that they're not. And it's been like that for year after year after year. They make some progress, but then they end up falling back. Or maybe they reach their goal and then they completely give it over and they return back to old ways. So this is what I consider my superpower, is helping my clients really navigate so that they have a blueprint for being able to create the changes they want to create in a way of ease and flow and consistency, completely aligned with who they are and who they want to be, without quitting on themselves, where they are able to navigate the challenges that come up as they're making these changes, and they're able to do it in a way that they had not been able to do it before. So I know the ways in which you may be challenged. And so today's is really about exploring these 3 different ways and the impact of it, the nuances of it, and how you can begin to make some shifts and changes so these things don't keep tripping you up. So the first one really is a big one for so many of my clients, and I see it so much in women, particularly around this perfectionism. So whether it's you want to lose weight, or you want to start putting yourself first, you want to stop overcommitting yourself, exhausting yourself and feeling like you're burning out because you keep doing the same thing. So let's talk about how perfectionism gets in the way. So what I've noticed with my clients is that they feel like they have to do it perfectly, or they don't want to do it at all. Are you familiar with that kind of all or nothing thinking? It's either completely perfect, you're completely giving it everything you have, or you do nothing. Or you just say, F it, I'm not even going to bother, it's too much work, doesn't turn out the way I want it to anyways, so I'm just going to forget about this area of my life. I just can't do it. It doesn't work out for me. Familiar to you? I mean, this is a common thing that I see with so many of my clients, that their experiences in the past were that they felt like they had to do it absolutely perfectly. They had to have, say it's like shifting the way that they show up and saying yes to things and not making time for themselves, making self-care time. They felt like they either had to be doing that had to they had to go away on a retreat, or they had to go put themselves somewhere. And since that wasn't possible, they just decided forget about it. It just didn't fit into their life. And so they made no time for it at all, because it was just going to be way too time consuming and wasn't something that they could stick to. Maybe they could go away on a retreat and have a great experience, but they couldn't figure out how to make that work in their own life. And so that kind of perfectionism, all or nothing thinking, absolutely will stop you. I am somebody who's been doing ceramics for the last few years, and I love it. And I have to say, as somebody who used to feel like, oh my gosh, a lot of comparison around my work, and thinking that, of course, comparison, as they say, is the thief of joy. You compare yourself to somebody else, you can guarantee you're not going to feel good. And so I did a lot of that in the beginning. And then I came to discover, you know what, it's fun. I love it. Some things are great and I love them. Some things are not as great as I wish they were. So I have come to have much appreciation for my work, and I really, really like it. And when it comes out of the kiln, I'm always really excited to see what turned out, what didn't, what I can learn from it. So I have a very different attitude, and I thoroughly enjoy the experience, and I very much look forward to being in the studio. But there's a new woman in the class, and she was talking about, how her perfectionism shows up in the clay. And I'm going to tell you, artwork and perfectionism, total thief of joy. And it will rob you from moving forward and being able to take action. Because here's the thing. When you are new at something, a beginner, you're not going to be amazing. You're not going to be awesome. There are certain people who, right out of the gate, they get it. I'm somebody on the wheel. It's taken me so long to have pieces turn out and to be able to follow the steps and be very happy about the pots and the mugs and the things that are coming out. But I was not somebody who from the get-go got it. I'm somebody who, took me many, 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 many months. And what I know is that consistency, persistence, being willing to move through the awkward beginner stage is what has allowed me to have some feeling of, a little bit of feeling of mastery, a little bit of feeling of, I know when I get on the wheel, things are going to turn out. Maybe not exactly as I thought they're going to be, but they're going to turn out in some way that I actually can work with. And so I see, whether it's your artwork, whether it's you making self-care time, whether it's you making meals for yourself that are healthy and maybe a little different than your family, whether it's you carving out time to move your body, whether it's you making time to improve your environment, making time for your spiritual life, any of those aspects of your life that you want to cultivate and get better at, you have to be willing to shift this relationship with perfectionism, because perfectionism is a myth. It will never take you to where you want to go. Always, it'll have you feeling like you're not good enough. Always have you feeling like, really, what's the point? And it'll also lead you to burnout, because the constant pushing, making sure that everything is right, making sure that every detail, everything that you've thought of every way that this could go wrong. I mean, it's exhausting. And what I know for sure is that one of the key reasons that you are quitting on yourself is perfectionism. And you may have it 0 to 10. You may be a 10. You may be a 7. Guaranteed it's above a 5, because at that level, it's going to undermine your willingness to be in the process. And change, any kind of change, is about being willing to be in the process with yourself. And when you're in the process with yourself, you're seeing areas where you're maybe not as great as you wish you were. Perfectionism will tell you, forget about it. You never will be. But when you're willing to release the hold on perfectionism, you will be able to stay the course and continue. And so what I know to be true from the 13 years of coaching that I have done, from the work I have done with clients and myself, is that it is a process. And as they say, there's a word lesson and a world lesson. The word lesson is, okay, I know I need to be less perfectionism. But the world lesson is, how does it work in the world for you? Are you willing to release some of that? Because sometimes I see, when I first start working with clients, they don't like it. They don't like what that looks like, to not be perfect at something. And they're so used to operating from that vantage point that it's really hard for them to release it and let it go. And if you've been that person operating in perfectionism for more than a year, more than 2 years, you know the tenacity that it holds on you. And you also can feel what it's costing you to navigate from that way. So this really is an invitation, a reminder. Perfectionism is not your friend. Perfectionism will undermine your success and your ability to follow through. And really asking yourself, what do you want more? Do you want to achieve peace of mind? Do you want to reach your goal of making more time for yourself? Having more of your own personal experiences that fill your heart and fill your soul? Do you want to let go of extra weight? Do you want to have more movement in your life? Do you want to have more health? What do you want more? I remember early on when I was making changes in my life, there was a saying that said, you can't save your face and your ass at the same time. You can't. So if you're wanting it to look good, and that to you means perfectionism, it'll cost you. And I see the price is high. Perfectionism costs you your health, your ability to sleep, you can experience internal systems that don't work that well. Blood pressure, cholesterol, weight, all of those are byproducts of your pushing, exhausting, wasting your vital energy instead of allowing yourself to be in the process of discovery and unfolding. So I said that there were 3 reasons. So that's the first one. If perfectionism is yours, ask yourself, what is one small shift that you're willing to relinquish? What is one way that you're willing to release this hold of black or white thinking? Has to be perfect or I'm not doing it at all. Where are you willing to let it go a little bit? And again, I encourage you, take the assessment, the download that I offer you, because it's going to give you a little bit more information on how to navigate this. And I'd love to walk you through it. So the second thing is having unrealistic expectations. When I've helped women do weight loss in the past and working with women who want to lose weight, frequently there's an expectation. If they say they have 40 pounds they want to lose 20 pounds in a month. For some people, that's possible, but for most women, healthily, it's not. And since they've set themselves up to have that expectation, when that doesn't happen, again, they want to just say, you know what, this doesn't really work. Even though maybe they've lost 5 pounds or 7 pounds, they're kind of like, it's it's not enough. So then they turn back to old ways because they're like, this isn't going to work for me. And so then they're another 7 pounds heavier than they were, in addition to the 40 pounds they wanted to lose. So you can see how this unrealistic expectations totally trips you up. So again, I would say, and I know I've said it before, your expectations are inversely related to your level of happiness. Always encourage my clients when we're setting goals to make them manageable, realistic goals, a bit of a stretch, but realistic. And I'm going to tell you, if you have a weight loss goal of 20 pounds and you want to do it healthily, doing it in 1 month is not realistic. And if you've been a person who's been saying yes all your life to things, and you want to start shifting and turning that around, know that in 30 days, you can make much progress, but having it be completely eradicated, probably not realistic. Not if you've been this way for decades. But what I know is that in 30 days, my clients see major shifts in their life. And I always encourage my clients to look for the small wins and celebrate. And I want you to really take note of that. Look for the small wins and celebrate, because so often perfectionism stops you, unrealistic expectations stops you from doing any of that. And that is the key to your being able to continue to move forward. Celebrate the small wins. Give yourself credit for what has happened. And that's what these unrealistic expectations and perfectionism rob you of. They don't allow you to have any joy in the process on what has gone well. If it doesn't exceed what you expected or doesn't meet exactly what you were anticipating, there is no joy. There is no celebrating. The whole thing is negated. So I'm going to tell you right now, that needs to be eradicated, because that will undermine your ability to follow through. So check yourself. Where are your expectations realistic or unrealistic? And yes, you want to be able to stretch, but I always use the example with my clients. If you haven't been to the gym in months, years, saying you're going to go to the gym every day for the next 7 days is completely unrealistic. Keep your expectations realistic. You haven't been to the gym 60 days, 90 days, a year. If you got there twice this week, that would be huge progress. Start with reasonable goals that you actually can achieve. I tell my clients always, we're here to set you up to win, not to fail. And unrealistic expectations set you up to fail. So that's tip number 2. And number 3 is fear. There is so much fear that I see for women to do anything different. And I see it when my clients start working with me. It's always the hurdle they need to get over to say yes to coaching. They're so used to doing things the way they've always done things, they're afraid to do things differently. But the only way you get to where you want to go is being willing to look the fear in the eye and be willing to walk through it. When my clients say yes and they move through that fear that has been holding them back for years, they are always so grateful to themselves that they had the courage to step forward and be willing to say yes to themselves. Fear will absolutely choke off any progress, any ability to move forward, to make changes, to shift in any way. Fear holds you back, right? Acronym for fear, false evidence appearing real. F everything and run. Fear is the negator of progress. So it is so important to really look at where fear is stopping you and where fear is interfering with your ability to make the changes and your ability to follow through. So I want to just review what we've talked about. 3 ways, 3 reasons you are not being able to follow through. First one is perfectionism. Second one is unrealistic expectations. The third one is fear. And there may be a thread that runs through all of this for you. You may have all of them. You may have one that's stronger than the other. That's usually the case. But just notice what shows up for you when you are listening to this. And as you take the assessment from the link that I provided, notice what you discover about your mind as you get the results of this assessment. And when we meet together, let me help you uncover how this is stopping you in your life. And together I will offer you a couple of tips and strategies to start shifting forward, and then offer you a way, if you would like to really navigate this in your own life, to be able to have the success and follow through and live the life that you desire for yourself. I am so happy to have been here with you today. I look forward to your comments, and I thank you for sharing this podcast with women that you know who struggle to say yes to themselves and get in their own way. So thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for your comments. I'm Claudia Braun, Mindset Lifestyle Coach for women great at saying yes to others, not so great at saying yes to themselves, but are ready to start doing something different. Thanks for being here with me today, and I will look forward to seeing you and being with you next week. Bye for now.